Hey rail fans and model railroaders, welcome to a special edition of Getting Back on Track with Steve
and Betsy.
So today, we needed to talk a little bit about my dad. So back in September, my dad fell and broke his hip. And unfortunately, after 3.5 months in the hospital and 5 surgeries, my father passed away December 26th. And we'll definitely be missing him. He's the one that got us going on this whole hobby. And it's definitely going to leave a hole for us. So we thought it would be a great idea to go in and take a look at his layout that he was working on in O-scale. So let's jump right to the video and let's take a look at what we have. So this is my father. He was a great guy and he was always interested in learning new things. Running O-gauge trains was a new thing to him, and he went at it really well. I mean, he really got interested in it and dug into it. This is the first O-gauge set he had bought, and it came with the locomotive and a couple of the coal cars, the tanker, a boxcar, and the caboose. Originally, he had enough of the fast track to put just an oval around. So we went ahead and used a old ping pong table and built a bench off of a workbench that was down in his basement and put some foam on it, and we went to work on it. Once we had everything down, Dad continued to expand on this. He particularly liked a lot of the Menards structures. One of the things he really enjoyed about it, on every Menards structure is a dog named Jack. So he was always interested in looking and finding Jack on every building he would buy. So he has the coal tower and this, he's got a grain tower, and he really enjoyed those. They really light up, and he ran and got them plugged in so all the lights are working. He loved the car that was on this as well, this pickup. He was really into cars. My dad worked 35 years for General Motors in a factory where they built the cars. So that was something he was always interested in. He's bought and sold cars, restored a lot of cars. He's really good at doing interior work, particular headliners. So he's had a lot of interests over the years. He was an accomplished woodworker. He would build cabinetry and furniture. And these were all things that he started taking classes, an extension class after he retired, to learn how to do some of this stuff. He also took flying lessons and piloted aircraft. He was out flying around in Oklahoma for quite a while. It was another thing he always wanted to do. So I always admired that about him. He'd find something that was interesting to him, and he'd make sure to do it and learn it and really get into it. This hobby is one of those items too. He spent a lot of time on YouTube looking at different things and learning about it, how things worked. And he had just started getting into some of the scenery on this layout here. As you can see, he's added some trees, he's added a little elevations, some bushes, he's done some painting. And if you notice all these rocks that are on here, these are all rocks that he would go out and he would see an interesting out in the yard, an interesting rock in the garden. He'd pick it up and look at it and think, yeah, this would be pretty nice on there. So he would pocket it, bring it back in. When he had a lot of rocks, he started placing them out on his layout. And I think they worked really well for what he was going for. I think he had a good vision. Some of the other things he was interested in is I have a 3D printer, and this tank right here, I 3D printed for his layout. We made all the little pieces and parts were just off of scraps of styrene and some sprue material. We used some PVC piping for the propane tanks and put it all together. And so this end of the layout, he visioned being kind of an oil scene and more industrial down here. He did have a lot of O-gauge housing and livestock, and he was still trying to decide where he wanted to put those things. But he would come down all the time and spend a lot of time working on this. So this GP38 he bought, and it wasn't working, and that was my introduction to how O-gauge work. I took this apart and I rebuilt the E unit so it would start running for him, and he ran that quite a bit. And it goes really well with all of these coal cars he has, because here where he lives, it's coal country here. And you see a lot of these out on the rails. You can see in the background a hanging up there with a bunch of trains on it. That's a jigsaw puzzle he put together. And then my sister went ahead and framed it up for him so he could hang it up here in the train room. I also put some shelving up there so he could display some of the coal cars he has, and his GP38 Illinois Central usually sets up there as well. So here's another look at some of the oil stuff in the tank. And he was pretty happy with this. He thought this came out really well, and I was pleased he was so happy with it. It's really nice to see the train running around with the scenery he did. I could really see the vision he had for this layout. And I plan to continue working on this and building on it as a separate layout to my own. So Dad really inspired me to get into this hobby. And he's the one that gave me my very first train set. He gave me the HO train set that you saw last week in my Christmas video. And that's when he transitioned over to O-gauge because it was easier for him to see. So I'm really glad he did, because it's been a great hobby, and it's something that him and I really shared over this last year or so, working together. So it's a great memory and something I'll always cherish with him.
Well, there you go. I had a great time going down and getting to run the trains on Papa's layout and seeing all the hard work he did down there. He was really getting somewhere with the scenery.
Yeah, the scenery work that he was starting to do was really special. I thought he was doing really well with it. And it's really fun to run that O-gauge stuff. I really had fun with it as well. So thanks so much for coming along and paying tribute to my dad. We really appreciate all of you.
And make sure you hug your loved ones. Enjoy running your trains. Enjoy working on your layouts. And we'll see you next time on Getting Back on Track with Steve and Roxy. Bye, guys.
Bye, all.